Welcome to our web exclusive. I'm Mike Montecalvo along with Eyewitness News Analyst Lt. General Reginald Centracchio. We're learning more details about the disturbing events at the Silver City Galleria and in the neighborhood nearby, leaving 2 innocent people dead. We're getting more information as it's been going on. One of the people who was murdered was a teacher who actually is being hailed a hero. Of course, we have more on our website, WPRI.com, on those. General, I thought it was important to note that, how this all came and unfolded. So the gentleman got into a car accident of some sort, went into a home, stabbed 2 people, then went to the Silver City Galleria, drives his car through the front of Macy's, then goes on a rampage there. Your thoughts when you hear something like this?
There's also some consideration that the night before he was at a psychiatric facility, and some concern is that perhaps he shouldn't have been allowed to leave. So that's one step in the investigation. The whole thing is based upon how do you go ahead and determine or predetermine that something like this is going to happen. You really can't. It's dependent upon what an individual would like to do and the wherewithal to do it. We're always concerned about someone taking a gun into a facility. Now it's a knife, and perhaps the next thing would be some other item that would be able to have lethal consideration.
We've talked so many times here, and the state police and the FBI have said, beware of your surroundings. George Heath, who's that 56-year-old teacher who's being hailed a hero, he was stabbed to death. He saw what was going on and tried to stop it. So he obviously saved quite a few lives by just paying attention and knowing what was going on.
He did, but we need to also understand too that that is the exception, and that's certainly not the first protocol that one would suggest that how do you deal with it. The first protocol is to, number one, be aware of what's around you and try to get out of that area if you can. To take on someone like that, you better be prepared to receive some stand back and push back to include your own life.
All right, John, let's talk about the response. The mayor at a news conference today said police, fire, EMA, they all responded. He also talked about surrounding communities. That's not unusual, is it?
No, it isn't. In fact, you bring that up in reference to that scenario. Each state is different. In Rhode Island, we have a all hazards plan, which means that from time to time you have different agencies that are in charge, more or less the lead agency. In this particular case, it was the county jurisdiction that took control, and he was the first one on TV and to be able to bring the other mutual assisted individuals into the scenario. But keep in mind, each scenario is different and each state is different. In Rhode Island, it would perhaps be the state police in this case, working with, if it happened to be in a particular jurisdiction, then that local department would be working hand in hand with the state police.
When you were director of the EMA, you kind of fine-tuned that whole thing for incidents like this, right?
We did, and that's when we devised the all hazards plan, meaning that when you have multi-agencies responding, who's in charge? And we were able to devise the plan that would designate specific agencies, such as during a snowstorm, you'd have DOT and state police in charge, with the National Guard being in a support role and other agencies supporting that effort. And it would change from time to time.
Security measures obviously are in place at all malls, whether it's in Rhode Island or Massachusetts. You talked to the owner of the Warwick Mall earlier
I did.
Today.
I talked to Mr. Garabedian, and I was very impressed with his knowledge of what the protocol is, and obviously he can't share with the general public as to what things they have in place for obvious reasons. But I'm comfortable knowing that he's comfortable to say that people should be okay to go shop at any mall because each of them has their own protocol and their own security programs in place, not only Warwick Mall, but Providence Mall, Emerald Mall, and malls across the country.
A woman that we interviewed last night after this all happened said she was on the top floor shopping. She didn't know what was going on for about a half hour. We heard that the mall was on lockdown, but not everyone was evacuated. You think that's a smart thing, not to let the entire mall know about it?
I do. Otherwise, if you did, you'd have a total panic. And the term lockdown, in my opinion, is perhaps misused in this particular case. It depends on the venue. In a school where you have the children under the jurisdiction of a teacher, you can't have lockdown and close the doors and lock it because the kids will stay there. In a mall, people just want to get out. Same thing would happen in the theater, as we saw on several occasions. So you can't have a lockdown and expect it to work because, number one, you can't enforce it. Number two, people want to get away from that area. And so this is what we saw last night. On a second level, people really didn't know what was going on. And that's probably a good thing, I would think, at this point.
And of course, we'll have continuing coverage on this story right here on our website. General, as always, thank you for your thoughts and thanks for watching.